I'm in.
All right, Stokastic, here we go with your old pal EMAC coming to you on a Sunday morning here as we get ready for a little MLB doing battle against the NBA playoffs. I am joined by Matt Bellman as we get ready for dueling sports once again. Matt, the six-figure man, finally get a chance to congratulate you in person. Way to go. Way to go. That was Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I appreciate it. First off, interestingly enough, many of the pitchers, at least some of the pitchers that were on that slate are on today's slate, namely Tyler Mahle, who, man, we've messaged but haven't seen each other obviously since then. That was honestly the key to everything that night. I played one lineup as we talked about, and I kept going back and forth between Mahle and McGill. I had messaged a buddy. I've never been more torn on my SP2 than McGill was Mahle. It was really my SP1 because I was using Bailey Ober, but I couldn't get a good grasp on who I liked more. I had McGill in because that's who my gut said, if you will. And I had him in. It was 7:39, a minute before he locked. And the tools just kept pumping out Mahle. I kept putting my lineup in the simulator with both McGill and Mahle, and it just liked the one with Mahle significantly more. So I said, screw it. I'm going to use Mahle because I trust the tools. I use the tools. And obviously it would have been a much different night without him. So yeah, man, couldn't wait to get back on here with you. I've missed you the past couple of days. Excited to talk out this MLB slate with you, a typical Sunday big boy. But yeah, feeling good. It is funny. I think someone had just asked you or us in the chat, like, have I ever had a big win like that? And I felt one was coming after that question. So pretty stoked. But as DFS goes, we got a new slate today.
Indeed. That it was one heck of a lineup. I looked at it and I was like, oh my goodness, that was something else. It's
the thing is, it's exactly what we talked about on here.
You know, it was. I was like, holy cow.
Player for player. I mean, I didn't give the lineup out, but I talked the pitchers I was playing and I talked about stacking the A's. So yeah, it was pretty straightforward.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's take a look here at today's slate. No major weather issues except, and it's a major exception, except for Chicago, because it does look like there is going to be rain in the game window. It's also kind of cold, and they know it's going to rain. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. My guess is they just go with it, and if the rain comes, then we could get a postponed game or a suspended game or something. But with everybody having Easter plans, unless they call this off pretty quickly, they're just gonna run into Mother Nature, is my guess. Now, does that have a major impact for us? No, because it's Merrill Kelly and Jameson Taillon going. It's cooler. It's in the low 50s, and there's a decent wind. Even stronger than a breeze, a wind coming in around 15 to 20 miles an hour from right field. So it's not a great offensive environment, but it's also not really pitchers that we would go after. So I am taking it out of the player pool just so I don't have to deal with it. But that is the only weather concern we have. There is Coors Field doubleheader. So it is not on the DraftKings main slate. It is on the FanDuel main slate. And Matt, you're not going to believe this, but both games are on the Yahoo main slate.
That's fun.
That is going to be fun. So
you got to be a real diehard to go to doubleheader Rockies national games on Easter.
Yes. So good luck to all of them. But let's get into pitching here. We're going to cover the pitchers we like. Then we'll go game by game. And then we will get on out of here. We do have at noon the NBA Live Before Lock going with Josh Engelman because, of course, it is the second wave of game ones for the first round of the NBA playoffs. But up at the top here, we've got Tariq Skubal in the tools has a slight edge over Jesus Luzardo, who gets the Remember Me game going against one of his former teams here. You've got Tyler Glass now. He's having an up and down season. Clay Holmes, converted reliever. I mean, he was the actual closer for the Mets, for the Yankees for a couple of years before Mets signed him to a 3-year deal with the intent of making him a starter, and then Max Fried, Ryan Pepiot, etc. here. So we got a little bit to talk through here, Matt. I'm going to turn this over to you as the six-figure man. Who do you like pitching today?
Yeah, so we've got some really good options. I don't think there's any one guy that like stands out as a must play, mainly because Skubal's so expensive. He's going to be a really good option on every slate he's on, pretty much regardless of matchup. And I feel that way here. Again, I don't think there's a huge strikeout upside in this spot against the Royals. It's also like not a scary matchup. I'm not scared of the Royals either. So I think for me, he's pretty clearly like the top overall option, projects for the most points. Certainly Luzardo is cheaper and in a better matchup, but if they were all the same price and I could use one pitcher, I think the answer is pretty easily Skubal for me. Again, they're not though, and he is uber expensive, so I could see getting away from Skubal, mainly just because of the price. And again, it's not like he's facing the White Sox or the Rockies. You've got Luzardo in one of those spots, so I understand why the ownership is pushing more towards Luzardo. I mean, it's not like Skubal is unowned. He's the second highest pitcher, but it does seem like after Luzardo, it's a little more split. I get it. Like, as much as I want to say I don't trust Luzardo as I do Skubal, I mean, I don't think anyone does. It's just a price and matchup thing, and I have no arguments with that. So I do think that Luzardo and Skubal, your top two options, you're spending 25, like 20.5 on them together, which is whenever you're spending 20K on both your pitchers, you're, allocating a lot of salary, obviously. So I think that would be the reason to get off one of them. I think Holmes, the next best option. He's been really good. St. Louis lineup has been good to start the year, and they've got some guys that have been actually really good, like Brendan Donovan. But overall, I'm not worried about the lineup. He's cheap. So I think those are your three options. It feels weird leaving out Glass now and Fried. Mm-hmm. I just think it's hard to get to them if you're playing one lineup over like a Skubal and Luzardo, just considering their matchups, their price tags. I like Fried and Glass now. I just don't like them as much as Skubal and Luzardo. How do you see it?
Pretty much the exact same way. So Skubal, of course, the reigning Cy Young award winner. He, we know his bona fides. He gets the matchup there against Kansas City, and the back of that lineup is just dreadful. I mean, Drew Waters.
It's trash.
Borderline replacement level. Hunter Renfroe has seen better days. I almost said Freddie Fermin.
You're going way back with the Felix Fermin throwback.
Well, I mean, you got to get a little Mariners, little Indians
Omar Vizquel
crossover there. Omar Vizquel, older women for Omar. That was always. Did you ever see? Did they do that in Cleveland?
No, but it's funny because he got into some trouble later in his career.
Oh, he did, which is hilarious. But when he was a young guy coming up in
very good looking guy, so I could see it.
And this was in the Kingdom, and there was like a group of 4 or 5 women that would be at a lot of the games, and they would hold the sign up that just said older women for Omar.
That's amazing.
whenever he was at that. So then later, after the Cleveland days, it was like, interesting. Yeah. I wonder if those ladies still support this. So I'm sidetracked because, of course, baseball being baseball. Back to the task at hand. The one thing that the Kansas City lineup doesn't really do is strike out. However, Skubal is an excellent strikeout pitcher. He had a 30% strikeout rate last year. So that kind of mitigates it. We're paying apex price, but I think you absolutely can do that. If we look at Luzardo, now remember he missed the latter half of last year. He had a lumbar issue or back issue of some sort. So he was traded this offseason in December from Miami to Philadelphia. In his last 2 healthy seasons. So last year he didn't have a great strikeout rate, but clearly he had been dealing with that back issue. In his last 2 healthy seasons, he had 279 innings and 10.6 strikeouts per 9. This year, 23 innings, 4 starts. He has 11.2 strikeouts per 9, hasn't really allowed any extra base hits. Now, the extra base hits will come, especially pitching in Citizens Bank Park, but that doesn't mean it has to happen today or against the Marlins. So he kind of is the tick in as the number 1 player. And then Clay Holmes, I had mentioned that he was, former closer. He ended up with the Yankees. I think he ended up getting the job when Aroldis Chapman was hurt, if I remember correctly. But he was their closer. He had like 75 saves. And even as last year, he was their closer. He went to New York with the full intent of them making him a starter, and they gave him a pretty big contract. That's been working out quite well. The 28 strikeouts in 19.2 innings, that's unsustainable. That's not going to continue. The one worry, he's got 11 walks already, and he's hit 2 batters. So that's 13 free passes in 19 and 2/3 innings. That's a lot of base runners. If he can keep getting guys out at the plate, that will help him maintain his ERA and his run prevention. But the salary takes some of the errors out of that. And then you mentioned we've gone back and forth on, is St. Louis good or not? I was looking at that today or last night when I wrote up this section. They have the 5th most runs scored in the league this season, but they're not a terrifying lineup, and they've only scored 5 runs in the first 3 games of this series. So they're looking at getting swept. But I like you, I went back and forth, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put the lefties in as my concern, Newt Barbarolson and Donovan. But aside from that, I can't get a good read on this Cardinals offense at this point. And we've picked on them more than we've ridden with them. That'll change once the weather changes in St. Louis, but that was interesting. You hit on Fried and who was the other one that you mentioned? Oh, Glasnow. Glasnow's been all over the place this year. He'll settle down at some point, but if he's not getting strikeouts, he is very dangerous because he has a propensity for home runs because he's not afraid to challenge hitters. And I don't know. What is your take overall on Glasnow's body of work? He's always shown promise, but he always ends up getting hurt.
Yeah, it's tricky. Especially when we're just looking at it like on today's slate, like today's start. It's tricky to trust him here. Like when you've got options that have been more trustworthy, that have a longer leash. It's interesting though, just because like I still consider him a better DFS pitcher than Luzardo, even though Luzardo is good. Like, don't get me wrong. He's a dude for sure. He's not like an upper echelon, like on that top tier of DFS starters, which Glasnow is. So it's always interesting. Like guy like that is really falling through the cracks a little bit. For me, Glasnow goes back to Luzardo because I'm torn on Luzardo here. I think this is a classic. He looks really good. The top 2 pitcher percentage is indicative of that. 2nd overall, the Scooble. Pretty big gap after him, but he's very much over-owned. 35% owned, a little bit higher than that. Most negatively leveraged pitcher on the slate. Like, I don't know how it's going to play out today, but this is one where I think you could make a real strong case for just playing Luzardo. I think you can make a strong case for fading him because of the ownership.
All right. 2 more I want to get your take on. First one is Tanner Houck. Had a rough start there in Tampa. Absolutely unlike him. He usually does an okay job at run prevention. He got his ass kicked. And people are like, well, I think that was like a 16-1 game or something like that. And it was like, oh, well, it's the ballpark. And it's like, but the other team didn't hit anything. They were going against arguably, a shaky pitcher as well. Then we've got him, and then all the way down at 5,600, Logan Allen. No comments on Logan Allen because you said it. My jokes about him were old, but he's back. He's back. What do you think of those cheaper options?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good pitchers below the top guys. Clay Holmes, I think we started there. I think that he's the clear top cheap guy. Him and Pepio stand out at their price tags. I don't know how cheap you were going.
Logan Allen is 5,600 on DraftKings.
No, thanks. I'm not, no way. I'm not chasing that one good start against Baltimore. He stinks. That's going to be a definite no for me.
Okay. All right. Shall we go game by game now and hit everything else?
Let's do it.
All right. In the meantime, I do want to mention we have the Stokastic and OddsShopper Portfolio EV joint product here, the 7-day free trial for that Portfolio EV tool. You can get that link in the YouTube description below us here. You can also, on the link in the YouTube description below us, get the a single sport Sims package 1 month for free. If you haven't signed up yet for any of the providers here that I have posted on the screen, you have the ability to follow the instructions. We've gone over them a lot and they're on the page. Follow those instructions and you can get 30 days of Stokastic Sims. Reach out to sport@stokastic.com if you have any questions. All right, Matt, game number 1 here, Minnesota against Atlanta. We've got Joe Ryan on the mound for Minnesota. We have Grant Holmes on the mound for Atlanta. Holmes is in play. We've got the what's up Holmes jokes are out there, but he is a potential option for us. What is your read on this game? Because we have rough pitching and rough hitting matchups overall, but I think there's some value here.
When you say, you mean in the you're just talking about Braves Twins, right?
Yes, Braves Twins. Do you like the pitchers? Do you lean towards the hitters?
It's funny to me. We were doing a show a week ago, 10 days ago, where it might have been last Sunday, actually, where remember it was Sale versus Tampa and Shane Baz and all the sides that you wouldn't think looked better in the tools. And it kind of played out that way. Similar spot here with Grant Holmes and Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan is a very good pitcher. I'm a big fan of Joe Ryan in general. He's not the greatest DFS pitcher, but he's solid. Grant Holmes has been okay, but his underlying numbers are not very good. They're back-to-back in the top pitcher tool. Holmes is actually a little bit higher, getting significantly more ownership because he's facing the Twins at 6,600. I'm not on Grant Holmes here. I get it. He's cheap. They're expensive bats. I just don't feel comfortable with it. I think he could get blown up here. I'm playing 4 lineups today, so I might not get to the Twins, but I might because I've played a little of them recently. I played some of them last night. It didn't work out amazing, but some guys were good. Buxton's been good. One of their top prospects hit second last night, Kearshaw. So I kind of like the Twins more than the field does. I'm off Holmes. Joe Ryan, man, this is tough for me. I kind of feel about Joe Ryan as I do Glass now. I really like these guys as pitchers. I don't love their spots. I'm not in love with their price tags, but they're also not getting a lot of love, and they're very good pitchers. So Joe Ryan in the mix for me. I'd personally use Ryan over the Braves. Now, Ryan isn't immune to getting blown up. So the Braves are a team that when they're on can get to anyone. But for me today, Sunday, April 20th, I'm on the Twin side of this game here, and the bats and Ryan.
Did someone say 420? 420.
Yeah, so it's a holiday no matter what religion you are.
It's the Rastafarians' favorite. I got nothing really to add for that one, so let's continue on because we have a hefty slate here, so no need for me to reiterate things that have been well said by Matt. We've got Pittsburgh facing Cleveland here. You mentioned you're not a fan of Logan Allen. Do you want to take any hitters against him, and how do you feel about your Guardians against Mitch Keller?
Yeah, I'm interested in the Pirates. It doesn't feel good to start the show saying I like the Pirates and the Twins, but Logan Allen is that bad. I mean, the Orioles were chalk against him last slate. Pirates will not be. Man, it's really, really tough to stack the Pirates on a big slate like this. You're simply playing into Logan Allen being awful. He just might be awful enough where I can get on board with it, though. So if nothing else, I don't mind at all getting some mini stacks of Pitt, getting some one-offs. I'm not buying Logan Allen at all.
All right. Let's see. Jose Ramirez looks really, really good because he's a really, really good hitter, and he's a switch hitter, so he always looks good. The rest of this Guardians lineup, not exactly giving us warm and fuzzies here. Do you want to advocate for anyone?
I don't think so. I think Cleveland's a middle of the road stack here. Mitch Keller's kind of boomer bust, so on his off day, I think that Cleveland can get to him, but there's just other teams that I like more. You mentioned Ramirez. Nolan Jones actually has pretty good underlyings. Manzardo's been good. So I don't hate this lineup, but I think it's kind of like the Pirates for me where I'd get to mini stacks before full stacking them.
That makes sense. Is Johnsky Noel ever going to be a full-time player?
Probably not. We'll see. I mean, he's still young, but they've played him against some righties so far this year. This lineup is just pretty weak all over.
Yeah, it looks like the kind of the Sunday lineup there. We've got Brett Sutter taking, or Sutter. I'm going to go with Sutter, taking on the batters of Birdland here. I'm always partial to the power bats. We just haven't really seen a whole lot of it. I'm surprised that Ryan O'Hearn is in the middle of the order. Is Sutter going to be an opener? That seems weird that they're batting.
Yes, he is. He is.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. I was just like, that seems pretty weird. Do we know who the bulk guy is?
I can't. Yeah, we do. I just can't remember who off the top of my head.
Let me see if I can find it. Regardless, I'm still going to like Cincinnati, no matter what. Pardon me. I'm going to like, regardless of who Cincinnati's putting out, I'm going to like the Orioles. On the Orioles side, they got the ancient Charlie Morton on the mound here. Are you okay taking some of the Cincinnati Reds outside of the Great American Ballpark? If so, who would that be?
It's Carson Spires, by the way, who I expect to win after him. He was the original projected starter, so that would make sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Morton, he of the old age, is seemingly falling apart at the seams. I mean, he kind of got by last start against Cleveland. He didn't strike anyone out, and he ended up not being good. Cincinnati is definitely in play for me. I don't think they look amazing. You get a ballpark downgrade for them. I still respect Morton enough where I'm not just going to be like, I need to stack against him, but guaranteed 9 at bats. The Reds look good to me here. The Orioles look even better though. I don't care if it's if it's Sutter or Spires. Neither of those guys are very good. Baltimore's starting to get going a little bit. They're pretty high in the top stack tool and not getting a ton of love. I like the Baltimore side of this game more. They're not even that expensive. They rank as a higher value stack than the Reds do right now.
So I just wanted to call up Spires here. He started 2 games, and then his last game he had an opener. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 home runs. So definitely full speed ahead with those Baltimore bats. Let's keep cruising along here. Get to the next one. So we talked about Philadelphia's pitcher, but we also have the Philadelphia offense today going against Connor Gillespie. That is a plus matchup here. Gillespie, let's see, here's my notes. He came over. He was drafted after 3 years in college. He's a Virginia guy. Baltimore took him in the 9th round of the 2019 draft. He meandered around their minor league system, stuck in single A until his 4th year when he got to double A. Last year, he made it to triple A with the Guardians, by the way, who took him in the Rule 5 draft, minor league Rule 5 draft, so they didn't have to keep him on the major league roster. He got 8 or so innings, then got bounced that fall. The Braves picked him up and then cut him. Miami picked him up, so they gave him a contract. They thought he was going to be a multi-inning reliever. However, Ryan Weathers being hurt has him in the rotation now. He is just not good at all. But he's a major league pitcher, so he's bleeping amazing compared to the rest of us, but not in the context of the show. Is there any Philadelphia bats you do not like? That might be an easier way to analyze this.
Not really. I mean, Philly looks good here. They don't rank as high in the top stack tool as I thought they would. I mean, they're high, but like Baltimore's a little bit higher and getting a little bit less ownership. The Dodgers are higher. We'll talk about them. The Red Sox are higher. We'll talk about them. Philly looks good here. I think their ownership will end up being higher than we're projecting, at least the top of the lineup, but it makes sense. if they're going to run like they did yesterday at 5 stolen bases at least total, then they're going to be one of the, any team that does that is going to be an elite stack, especially a team that can also hit for power. So maybe that was just a play against, what's his name, who pitched yesterday, Quantrill, but maybe not. So Philly looks good here. They're certainly the best side of this game. The Marlins are the typical, insert bad stack facing really popular pitcher. So that's all the Marlins are here.
Oh, we have an update there for Philly or for Cincinnati. They just put Carson Spires on the injured list, so they're calling up Randy Wynn.
Okay, I don't think he's very good either, but he might be better than Spires.
Not so much. He's 32. He played in, let's hide the minors, hide his foreign league, hide his other. He has played one game, 2.1 innings back in 2023 for Cincinnati. That is his grand total of pro.
He's got in his 34 pitches, he's got an expected ERA of 13.42.
He pitched in the Australian League last year. Was not aware they had a league, but they do.
He looks like he might be Australian, looking at his mugshot.
Oh, let's take a peek here. Randall Garrett Wynn, born in San Diego.
Okay, so he's not Australian. I don't even know what looking Australian really means.
He looks like who is it? Adam Driver a little bit.
Okay, I see it.
Not quite the ears, but the rest of it a little bit. Okay, so thought we liked Baltimore even more. We like them even more now. So that takes care of that. You mentioned the stolen bases. That's just going to be something here. If Philadelphia can be such an offensive juggernaut if they put things together, especially if the change of scenery does Max Kepler some good. God, he was awful last year, even against righties. This year, he doesn't have, I don't think he's had a lot of power, but I think he's made contact. Let's see. 322 WOBA, not great power, but he's walking and not striking out. So maybe he'll turn things around in less pressure-filled situations than when he was with that thinner Twins lineup here. There aren't even any one-off bats that worry you against Luzardo, are there?
Nah, the Marlins play would just be Luzardo is uber chalk, and the Marlins are still major leaguers, and you're just playing off the chalk. But I personally wouldn't use one-offs of the Marlins. I think there's some better guys all over the board. They're kind of beat up too, so yeah, I'm good on Miami.
Yeah. All right. Now, more to talk about here. We've got Sean Burke taking on the Boston Red Sox. Tanner Houck, and I forget, I think it was Michael Henry in chat that said Houck Tua. I forgot about that joke already. That was a good joke.
Yeah, that was like your jam.
Well, it was, and I didn't even come up with it, which totally would be something I would come up with.
Yes.
So I'm working on a joke somehow about two Jewish stoners, and what did they say today? Passover, but I can't quite put it all together. We put for 420 and Passover. This is where my brain is at. So, but let's talk about Burke. He's not good. He got incredibly lucky on opening day. He wandered into the starting or the honor, I guess, of being the open day pitcher for the White Sox after they traded Garrett Crochet. If we look at Burke in his last 3 starts, he pitched just 10 2/3 innings with nearly a 12 ERA, almost 2 base runners per inning, and 5 home runs in those 10 2/3 innings with only 7 strikeouts. When you only have 2 more strikeouts than you do home runs in 10 innings, that's just not good. Not good. Who's your home run call from the day from Boston?
Yeah, Boston looks great here. Devers is the easy one. So I mentioned how there were pitchers from the slate that I had a lot of success on, also on today's slate, and Burke is one of them. Burke was facing the Athletics that night, and it was a huge reason why I like them. He stinks. If you want to know how in shambles my year-long fantasy team is, it currently rosters Sean Burke. It's a very, very deep league, so no hate. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. He is so bad. I can't imagine he's going to be up pitching for the White Sox that much longer. My big problem with Boston is just how owned they are. I mean, they're owned like a Coors team today, basically. They've got by far the highest chance of being the top stack, 13%, 16% ownership. Man, that's a lot to eat for a team like Boston that is very hit or miss, doesn't have the greatest bottom of the lineup, but facing Sean Burke in Fenway, it doesn't get much better than that. I'll play some Boston, probably. I'm not going to play all the Boston. I don't think they're the craziest fade because it's baseball and they're going to be really, really high owned, but they're the best stack on the board, raw points, projection wise. So they look really, really good here. Burke stinks. I also think the White Sox look good here because Tanner Houck stinks. He is not good. He got lit up towards the end of last year. He has continued it into the beginning of this year. His underlying numbers are horrendous. He's coming off one of the worst starts of the season his last time out against Tampa. If there was ever a time to use the White Sox, it's today. They're not going to be owned. They're a little bit higher in the top stack tool than they normally are. Now, they're not high, 2.6% chance of being the top stack, but ownership is right in line with that. They've got a 15% chance of being the top value stack. That means something. Houck is not good. I'm not going to be surprised at all if there's an injury or something with him. So I'm interested more than I thought in the White Sox here. Again, maybe it's more like the Pirates where you mini stack them or use one-offs, but I also feel like no one's going to use the White Sox here. And if they ever had upside, it'd be today. Now, that being said, Chase Mydroth, who one of their top prospects traded over in the Garrett Crochet deal, was leading off for them, just got scratched. So I'm not playing them because of that, but I did kind of like him leading off.
All right. Well, you've got Andrew Benintendi in a Remember Me spot.
Right.
Luis Robert. And then a bunch of replays.
Yeah, saying their names is not going to make me want to play them more, Emac.
Miguel Vargas. Get my interest.
I mean, that's the thing. It's a lot like Pittsburgh, but it's really hard to win slates with teams like that just because they don't really hit home runs.
Yeah. All right, let's keep cruising through here. Get back to my notes page. We have Seattle at Toronto. Talk about a game yesterday. Rowdy Tellez with Remember Me grand slam that one Eric Lindquist recommended as a home run call in his Tails Discord. So that's part of the offerings we have along with Portfolio EV. We also have the Tails where we have over 20 people that are offering packages under the OddsShopper umbrella with their Discords. A lot of them have models and other information that they're sharing, but you guys want to check that out. But regular contributors here, Eric Lindquist has a channel, as does Eitan Shander, as does I'm missing something. Loffy does. Matt does for college sports. Matt Gajeski. Sorry, I was blanking. We have 19,000 Matts have worked for us. You are one in a long line of Matts. Savoca in there as well. All right, back to Toronto. Luis Castillo, tough guy to go against. I'm not really excited about anybody from Toronto, but Seattle gets to be on the road. They are going against Easton Lucas. Never want to name your kid if you think he's going to be a major league pitcher after a bat company, right? That's a tough ask there. Do you want to stack up the Mariners here?
I mean, at first glance, I do because they're facing Easton Lucas and they're really cheap. But then you take a look at the ownership and it's like, man, do I really want to get in bed with a 10% owned Seattle stack as the second highest owned team on the slate? Probably not. That's where ownership matters to me. Like the tools have them as just so high, like so over owned. There's 5 different stacks, 8 different stacks right around them that look just as good. I get the appeal. I don't think Easton Lucas is good. He kind of got by in smoke and mirrors in his first 2 starts, got roughed around last time out against Atlanta. I could see the Mariners doing the same thing to him here. It's just an ownership thing for me. Like, I think that ownership stays. I'm not surprised at all. When I first opened the slate, Seattle really stood out as far as their price tags against Lucas. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I'll probably have some Seattle exposure more leading off. Like, they look good here. They're just over-owned. So it's, maybe if you play Seattle, you play like a Tyler Glass now probably not the route that I go. I mean, you can play Seattle even with the two chalkiest pitchers on the slate. You're just kind of fighting an uphill battle with how owned they're going to be, in my opinion. But that being said, the counter to that would be ownership in MLB never gets crazy high. So while they are over-owned, it's not like they're going to be NBA owned. So if you like Seattle enough, I could see the case for just playing them here and eating that ownership. They are in a good spot.
Yeah, they are coming in at 7% on FanDuel. Of course, that's going against Coors Field as well, but that's like the 5th most popular team. So if you are playing on FanDuel, they're not carrying quite the same level of popularity. Let's see, what do we got? 25 minutes. We got quite a few games to go. We're going to keep moving on here. Max Fried in Tampa against the Rays. Ryan Pepio on the other side. It is going to be close to 90 degrees again in the Tampa metro area here. That game is played outdoors at George Steinbrenner Field, which, wait for it, also is, no kidding, the Yankees, of course it is, spring training facility. So this is kind of like home game for them, sort of. All that said, Pepio's still a decent pitcher, but the torpedo bats are pretty good here. Give the what for on Max Fried.
Yeah, I'm a huge Fried fan in general. I think he's a very, very, a great real life pitcher. I'm off the Rays here against him. Probably off him at 9-7 in this park against this lineup, but I would play Fried over stacking the Rays in this spot personally. And then Pepio and the Yankees. I feel similarly, just reverse. I would use the Yankees over Pepio, but I respect Pepio enough that I don't feel the need to jam the Yankees here. Like, they're going to always look good in the top stack tool because their lineup's really good. They have Aaron Judge, affordable pieces around him. They're in this nice ballpark. I get it. Like, I get stacking them. I just don't think they stand out to me in the context of this slate. There's other offenses I like. Could I get to the Yankees? Sure, but there are pitchers I'd rather pick on over Pepio.
All right. I'm going to drop the link to my article in chat. Also, thank you. Shout out to Michael Henry. He's been kindly retweeting my tweets for this article, helping me get a little steam there. I'll put the tweet in there. But you guys can get that free every day. Stokastic Spotlight Pitchers Top Stacks article. Put in a wager of the day as well. Today, the double dip was Philadelphia. We've hit on both stacks because Boston was the other recommended stack for our main slate. Anything else you want to call in this game for Tampa or New York?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, again, in this park, things can get weird quickly. So offenses are going to kind of be the priority over pitchers. I think there's two good enough pitchers today, certainly in Fried, where I'm not overly excited about either offense here.
All right, so that brings us up to Tariq Skubal against Kansas City. Skubal projects as the best pitcher of the day. It kind of more or less coin flip between him and Jesus Luzardo. Once you put salary into consideration there, Luzardo getting a $1,500 discount on DraftKings. If we look on the Detroit side, they get to go against Michael Wacha. You mentioned smoke and mirrors, one of my favorite sayings. That is the Detroit offense. Even though they were a playoff team last year, they are smoke and mirrors at this point. How do you feel about attacking Wacha? He's one of those pitchers that does a good job of absorbing punishment.
Yeah, I mean, I got no issues with playing Detroit here. Like, I don't mind picking on Wacha. I don't know, man. Do I really want to stack Detroit in this slate? Like, if I were playing 150, I wouldn't take them out of the pool or anything, but I don't know if they have the upside for me here. They kind of remind me of the other teams I've mentioned in terms of like Pittsburgh and the White Sox. Where do they look in the top stack tool compared to those teams? Yeah, they're actually like right next to the White Sox in the top stack. The Tigers, White Sox, and Pirates are right next to each other, with 3 to 3.5% chance of being the top stack on the board. So one of those teams total has like a 10% chance of being the top stack on the board. I feel very similar about all of them, the Tigers, White Sox, and Pirates, all for different reasons.
All right. I wanna share this, and I don't like, is it even gonna come up? The site's such a disaster. I hate making fun of people, but I'm gonna make fun of ESPN here. They have their fantasy recommendation page, and they used to rank their pitchers basically using Bill James' game score. So I was looking at it, and I'm like, this is the weirdest thing I've seen in a long time, because they have Sonny Gray as their number one pitcher, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense even in the Bill James box score rankings. So I went and read. They're actually doing it off fantasy points. Their fantasy points metrics in this is ridiculous, Matt. It is 2 points for a win, -2 for a loss. You get 1 point per out. You get 1 point per strikeout. You lose a point for each hit or walk, and you lose 2 points for each earned run. All that does is that just makes every pitcher the same. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's no differentiation whatsoever. I don't even know what they're doing. They took a product and just have made it so bad over there. But now they even suck on their advice. And they actually have good people. Todd Zola has been doing that for a long time. Derek Carney contributes to that. I think Alex Hunter does. There's about 4 guys that take turns writing that article, and usually it's pretty decent to just get a grasp on it. It's just been nothing but dog shit this year, and half of them, they don't even use their names as a byline. So I don't even know what ESPN is doing at this time. So
it's funny you mentioned that. I've only looked at that. I obviously know what you're talking about because I've looked at that before. I've only looked at that one time all year, and it was Molly versus McGill to see what they thought on that.
Where you were scouring every
single thing. I'm serious. I listened to. I was literally in my office till 7:39 that night, like scouring over it.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, back to the Stokastic stuff. And if people want to throw tomatoes at me, that's totally fine. I get it. But
no, that is so egregious. I understand why you brought that up. For me, having Max Fried, anytime Max Fried is below Merrill Kelly, you got a problem with how you're scoring.
Yeah, it's just like, what's the point of having a pitcher? So why don't we just have 9 offensive spots and move on? All right. On to real things where we're putting real hard-earned money behind it. We mentioned that Clay Holmes is looking like a strong option, point per dollar, especially on DraftKings against the Cardinals. Sonny Gray is on the bump here for the Redbirds going against the Mets. Kind of feels like another stay-away spot. Sonny Gray is an adequate pitcher, especially if you look at his larger body of work. He's been solid for years. But this is a tough top of the Mets lineup here with Lindor, Soto, Pete Alonso, Nimmo, Jesse Winker, etc. Can you get behind either part of this matchup, Gray or do them? I guess the better question is, are the Mets going to make any of your 4 lineups?
Probably not. But the more I look at this slate, the more actually I am intrigued with Sonny Gray. Against the Mets. So much more likely to use him than the Mets. He's moved up in the top pitcher tool. ESPN has him ranked as the best pitcher today. So that's all we need to know. No, seriously. Number 3 in the top pitcher tool, coming in with a little bit of leverage. I don't love the spot, but I think he's good enough. Like, he reminds me of Joe Ryan, Max Fried in a sense. We're like very good pitchers, don't love the spot. I think Gray might look the best of them though. So I don't think you have to play Gray. I think you can stick with the popular pitchers, but I'm interested if nothing else. And then Clay Holmes, nothing's changed there. Like, I'm not sure this is going to continue all season, but he's got a live arm, and the Cardinals aren't a team I'm afraid of. They have been hitting good to start the season, but still not a ton of power. Thomas Segis in the 2-hole today. I think he's actually a one-off you could use if you're not playing Holmes, but I'm not scared of this Cardinals lineup if you do want to play Holmes. I don't think he's a must-play by any means, but he's too cheap. And although he'll probably give up some hits and some runs, his strikeout upside is pretty massive for a $7,400 pitcher.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen here. So I always like to look at, baseball and Baseball Reference and Fangraphs are my go-to. Because I like to look at overarching body of work. There's tons of good sites like Baseball by Brooks and StatCast, et cetera, et cetera. There's plenty of things you can look at here. But I like to kind of just get a flavor for where has a pitcher been throughout his career, especially someone that's been in the league as long as Gray. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. But you can see that the different season-long projection systems have him with over a strikeout per 9 innings. That's a little aggressive considering his career average is a little bit under that. But you can see once he got out of Oakland, got to New York, and then Cincy, he changed his pitching style and was going after more strikeouts. Of course, he also surprisingly had very low home run rates. This year, giving up home runs, but he's getting strikeouts. So, and small sample size, 23 innings there. But I also like to look at their xERA and FIP and xFIP. These are all really, really good run prevention numbers, which added in with the strikeouts can make for a very good fantasy pitcher. Of course, going against a lineup like the Mets is tough. But someone was asking me, what do I like to look at when I'm doing research? And it isn't BVP, but I used to get super in the weeds with pitch mix and pitch type, etc. But these are the two main pages I like to go to, our baseball reference and then FanDraphs. So there you guys. Sorry, a little one off there, but I got that question twice this week of what do you look at, EMAC? It's like, well, the stochastic tools are a great place to start. When I write things up, I'm explaining what the tools are showing. When I need to put those into words, I go to these other sources because then it gives me reference points on what to look at, etc. And that's, we mentioned that, baseball being baseball, 30 starts for a great pitcher, 10 are going to be bad, 10 are going to be awesome. What do they do with the other 10? The Cy Young guys, they have 6 bad starts a year. That's it. Maybe even fewer. And then the gas cans, the guys we like to attack, about 20 bad starts or dicey ones. So just that's what we look at. All righty, back to our fun. We got 13 minutes till the NBA show starts. Plenty of time here. Milwaukee Brewers putting out Logan Henderson making his first career start. You have Jeffrey Springs on the other side. I'm not really interested in either pitcher. I didn't look up Spring or so Logan Henderson was a 4th-round pick in the 2021 draft. He came up through the Brewers farm system. In the last 2 years is when he got to AAA. Last year for a little bit, and then he started there this year. 50 strikeouts in his 37 2/3 innings. However, it took him an awfully long time to get there, and he didn't make this lineup until Nestor Cortez joined Brandon Woodruff, Aaron Savali, and Tobias Myers on the injured list. So he could look like that, a really good AAA pitcher. I don't think he has the seasoning yet to go against a top-heavy lineup like Oakland, but like the Athletics. So I'm interested in the Athletic side here. I'm not interested in Jeffrey Springs, but he is a guy we will talk about on when he gets better matchups because he is a decent pitcher, just not against the Brew Crew. What are you unpacking from this matchup since the A's got you $100,000 5 days ago?
They did. So was it the A's or was it stacking against Sean Burke? Was it the chicken or the egg? We don't know. We'll never know.
Is that why you're playing multiple lineups today? You're taking both paths.
No, that's not. But it's a good point. So yeah, this game I think is the biggest wild card game on the slate. I think you could make reasonable cases for like all sides here. I think from a 30,000-foot view, considering the pitchers we have on this slate, the offenses here are going to look a little bit better than the pitchers. Certainly, we don't know what Logan Henderson is right now. He's a pretty highly regarded prospect. I don't think he's going to be a gas can, but we've seen it time and time again. You just don't know when these guys come up making their first major league start. So just in that sense alone, interest in the A's here. I mean, they've got power. They've won multiple slates so far this year. So, yeah, I'm interested in the Athletics here. I don't think they're like the top stack on the board, but they're not going to be owned. They're expensive enough where I think they're going to fall through the cracks a little bit. And, clearly they're on my good side. I think they're the most attractive piece of this game. I think the Brewers also look good here, though. This is another one. The Brewers actually look better in the top stack tool than the Athletics. They have a 5% chance of being the top stack on the board, less than 4% ownership. They stand out as far as a team that you wouldn't really think was going to be that high in the top stack tool is that high. I respect Springs. Outside of, I think, a first inning 3-run homer last start against the White Sox, he was pretty good. Now, that's the White Sox, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what to make of Springs against the Brewers here. I'm more apt to use the Brewers, but I'll probably just cross off this game. I don't like it, though, because I do think that there's upside all over it. So I'm going to say I don't know how to rank it as far as the Athletics or Brewers, but I like both stacks. I guess talking it out significantly more than the pitchers, just considering, if you're playing one of these pitchers, they're not playing one of the other good pitchers we talked about. And these are two offenses that can actually get it done. So I'm with you here.
All right. For those of you that aren't in playback, we have the comment of the day here from 50% of my life. He says, I'm in my hot bath with TV screens and bong poles, just like any mature 50-year-old man. Happy 420 Passover.
Hey, that sounds like my kind of party. Not going to lie. Text me your address. I'll be there after the show.
Yeah. We'll come hang out. We'll bring the rubber duckies. Let's see. Going to finish up our games here. We mentioned the Chicago game. I'm pretty sure rain is going to play an impact. They have not postponed it yet.
It's just, for me, it's not even that. It's more, I'm with you. Like, I'm not playing that game. Yeah. You're not playing that game. I think it's easy to just cross it off. It might play, but there isn't a ton to like about it anyways.
Yeah. If it was good weather, we'd talk about the top four for the Cubs, but you get Merrill Kelly, better real life pitcher, took forever to get to the major leagues, meandered over to overseas for several seasons, came back with Arizona and was a late bloomer. Perhaps his Cinderella story is over because he has been getting roughed up more often than not even really worthy of the label of better real life pitcher like he has been for so many years. But aside from that, nothing of
they're really expensive too, which is the other thing about them. So even if it were a really good if it was just a normal weather spot, it would be hard to prioritize the Cubs anyways because of how expensive they are. They have a 0.3% chance of being the top value stack on the board. That's about as low as it gets. And Arizona is only a 0.9. So I think that tells you all you need to know about this game.
All right. So I know now I'm the intermediary between playback and the YouTube chat, but 50, you're getting a lot of great comments. You're being called an absolute legend. Jesus wanted this. You've got a man of the people.
On YouTube?
Yeah, that's the YouTube comments for
about me?
50% of my life. No, I think it's for 50% of my life. Well, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm reading that now in playback. Man, he's my idol already. So I'm with YouTube chat.
All right. Okay. So one more game on the DraftKings slate. Then we got Coors Field, which we'll talk about since that's on FanDuel. And then we'll give you some home run calls and get on out of here. You've got Tyler Glasnow going against Tyler Mahle here. Two good pitchers. Roof will be open today. I believe. I will go confirm that. And God, you look at the Dodgers and you're like, yes, please. But is this the comeback for Mahle, who's been injured better part of the last 3 years? Is he getting better? Can he shut down the boys in blue? What do you have in this game?
I watched every pitch from his last start, and I was impressed, not going to lie. Like the only reason I played him was because the tools were pumping him out, and I wasn't expecting to start like that. He carved up this Angels lineup. Now, I think that had a lot to do with the Angels. Much tougher spot against the Dodgers here. I'm torn because obviously Mahle's on my real good side now. I don't, after watching him pitch, he's been good so far this year, if not like amazing. He's been really good. And I'm not really trying to go out of my way to stack against him, but the Dodgers look really, really good in the top stack tool. They're really expensive also, so I think that probably is the reason I don't get there. I'm not going to lie, like tossing in my mind like a little bit about playing Mahle how good he's been, no ownership, but I think this is one where not playing the Dodgers might be enough. The tools aren't nearly as high on Mahle as they were on Tuesday night or whatever night that was. So, yeah, like this game is another one. The two late games, this game are 2 out of the 3, and the Milwaukee game, wild cards for me. Like I could see Mahle pitching well. Could obviously see the Dodgers destroying him because they can destroy anyone. And I kind of feel similar about Texas and Glass now. Like, I think Texas is better than they've been so far this year. I still respect this lineup a lot. Now, they're going to need Marcus Semien to round into form to make that happen. But Glass now is a guy that puts guys on base when he doesn't have it. And anytime you get a situation like that, we saw it against Philly a couple starts ago. He walked so many guys. Bullpen came in, gave up a grand slam, and right then the stack is almost optimal. So do I expect that from Glass now here? No. But I do think Texas is a really sneaky stack, especially in like 150 type settings. I don't think I'll get there. I could see myself playing like a one-off or two. I respect Glass now enough where I probably won't stack Texas. I also respect Texas enough where I won't use Glass now, I think. But both of those sides are open to change. I could see myself getting on some Glass now. I could see myself getting on some Texas, depending on how ownership and lineup construction for me plays out. Ultimately, nothing from this game is a priority, but I see all four sides as having GPP winning upside personally.
Shohei Ohtani back from the paternity list. Is that worth maybe sprinkling a little something on a home run play?
I mean, not for me because I don't really do that anyways, but it is worth maybe downgrading Molly here. You got the best lefty hitter in baseball now sitting atop that lineup. Certainly a downgrade to Molly. I usually... And I don't really care about one hitter in a lineup. When that one hitter is like Ohtani or Judge, though, I mean, you're foolish not to care.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to game one of the doubleheader. Yes, doubleheader in Coors Field. It looks like DraftKings is pairing the second game of the doubleheader with Sunday Night Baseball to create a two-game slate. So that would be the one place you could get Coors Field action over there. You can get it on FanDuel, and you can get both games on the Yahoo featured slate, which is, of course, really fun. I will be doing that today, as I'm sure everybody who's playing on Yahoo today is going to look at that and go that route. We've got Jake Irvin, I believe, in the first game for the Nationals. You have Kyle Freeland on the other side. Somehow, what was there? 23 runs scored yesterday, yet Mackenzie Gore still was awesome with 13 strikeouts, allowing just 2 runs. The bullpens just got their ass kicked. Well, Dollinger sucked as well. I had his under 4.5 strikeouts. He got 5, despite giving up 4 home runs, 9 runs. He stayed in the game to get 5 strikeouts. Just unbelievable.
The Washington bullpen is horrendous.
It is something that
it is really bad.
It's not good. But for this game, going against Kyle Freeland, I mean, you can play the Nationals. I actually think he's going to be able to hold his own. The Nationals just aren't great against righties or the lineup. Oh, this is still the projected.
Against lefties, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, against lefties. Their righties are not exactly stellar here because we got Nate Lowe. Nate Lau. No, Nate Lowe. Now you're in my head. You called me out on that. Now I'm never going to get it right again. You got Nathaniel Lowe, James Wood, and Luis Garcia are all better against righties. They'll probably be in the lineup just because the Nationals don't really have anything else, but they're not good in lefty. If we go to the Colorado side here against Jake Irvin, he has had serious power issues against lefties. Against his last 450 lefties he's faced, he has a 217 ISO. So you want the Colorado lefties, but we're looking at McMahon, Nick Martini, Moniak, and then switch hitter Michael Toglia. It's really McMahon and Toglia. And if you're doing season-long leagues, I found both of those guys on the waivers in most of my leagues, and I play in competitive leagues. I was surprised. If you can stream them for a day, I would grab both those guys. Anything you want to add here as we...
Yeah, I like Washington more than you do. I know that they're not as good against lefties, no doubt. And if he were a righty, I would like them a lot more. For me, it's just an ownership thing. They've got, for all intents and purposes, the same top stack percentage as the Red Sox on FanDuel, half the ownership. So, yeah, anytime I get a team like that, I'm going to stack them when the tools just have them stand out in such a highly positively leveraged way. It's like yesterday. I like I like that Dollinger. I think he's got a good arm. Obviously, one of the, I think the best pitcher in the Rockies system. But Washington was coming in way, way under-owned, and they ranked really high in the top stack tool. So I used some Washington. The only really good lineup I had yesterday was a Washington stack, and it's similar today. I don't think Freeland's a trash can. He's a savvy pitcher. He gets by more with like guile than anything else, but he can certainly get roughed up. And I've seen him get roughed up by a lot worse lineups than the Nationals are rolling out there or will roll out there today. So it's just a numbers thing for me. Again, I'm with you. Like, I don't love using them against lefties. It's just a ballpark, bullpen, ownership thing for me, why I like them so much on FanDuel. If they were on the DK slate and the ownership were like it is on FanDuel, they'd probably be my favorite stack over there too.
Okay. Good call outs. Just wrapping it up, top 3 pitchers for us, guys, were Skubal, Luzardo, and Clay Holmes. Did you want to add anything to that? And do you have a home run call?
Not really. I know I'll go on for 30 seconds. It's easy to, like, when you've got teams like I talked about, the Pirates, the White Sox, and the Tigers that are all close together, to kind of, the tools aren't going to really separate them for you. But when you've got a team like Washington who really, really stands out in the top stack tool, that's when I think it's important to use the tools. Nothing else to add. For me, my home run call today is going to be Trevor Larnach.
All right. Mine is going to be Logan O'Hoppe Easter. With that, gamers,
Respect.
Good luck. Tune in and watch Josh Engelman break down the NBA slate on the Stokastic YouTube channel.